You ain't taking no risks. You ain't trying to be worried at night. But when you're young, you'll take risks. You'll try new things. You'll do new stuff. And guess what? Every now and then, the church needs new stuff, new ideas, new vision. Amen. And so young folk, we need you serving God now because we need your ideas. We need your vision. We need your risk taking. We need you involved because you keep us young. Left our own devices, we won't do anything. I'm just joking. We will do something. But we need the young folk to keep us fresh, keep us new. Amen. And so listen, because the old folk, we're not taking many risks right now. But the young folk, we need you to remind us that every now and then we got to step out on faith. Every now and then we got to try something bold. Every now and then we got to do something we didn't think about. Every now and then we got to step outside our comfort zone. When you get old, you ain't trying to do that. But the young folk, you can help us. Amen. To remember, every now and then we got to step out on faith. Then he says, when the almond tree blossoms, almond trees, when they blossom little white flowers. That's talking about all that gray hair in your head. And when the grasshopper drags itself along, I mean, you done lost the pep in your step. Grasshopper, look, because it says the grasshopper. It didn't say the snake or the worm, the grasshopper drags itself along. He said, you want to serve God before you done lost the hop in your step. You know, there was a time, amen, Marcus, I tell you, there's a time, I started dunking the basketball at 14 years old. Now, I can get up there. I'm not worried about going up. I'm worried about coming down. I can still get up there and grab the rim, but the coming down part is a little different story. Because I got the hop, but I can't come down. And every now and say I had to remind myself I'm not as young as I used to be. Amen. I get excited about the young folk. You still got some pep in your step. You still got some hop in your jump. You still can do it. Let God use you now while you have the energy. Grasshopper, great energy all over the place. But at a certain point, the grasshopper doesn't have any energy when it gets old. Young folk, you got the energy we need for ministry. You got the energy we need your energy. Serve God now. And then the last couple of verses, he's talking about when the silver cord is severed. That's just when you in the golden bowl is picked. He's talking about at a certain point he's talking about death at this moment. And the dust returns to the ground in verse 7. And the spirit returns to God. He's saying, serve God now because two things are going to happen. You're going to get old. And we can laugh about it because some of it's funny, but some of it's not. And at a certain point, you're going to die. Let me help you. If you don't remember God now and serve God now, and you get old and you don't serve God, and you die, you don't serve God, you didn't really do much. The old folks gave us something to understand. They said, only what you do for Christ will last. And when you do for Christ, there's two things. Love God and love your neighbor. What I found, I've done literally hundreds of funerals. I've sat with hundreds of families. Rarely when I talk to families, I ask them about how that person mean to you. I ask them a bunch of different questions. And I sat with many of y'all in those situations. And only thing they talk about is the stuff that was meaningful. The presence, what they said, what they did, how they helped them. If they talk about somebody's money, it's only about if they gave it out. Y'all missed that. If anybody's money comes up when I talk to a family, it's only if they were generous. If anybody's car came up, it's only if they gave them a ride or let them drive that car when they needed a car. If a house came up, it's only because there were some great memories in that house and they had family functions where they gathered together and celebrated one another. It let me know there's only going to be some stuff that counts that's meaningful. And when I say that is that what you do for others, what you do for your God. Amen. When all is said and done, he concludes this chapter by saying, and the conclusion of the matter is this. Now this is he compiled all of the Proverbs. He had compiled all these words of wisdom. He said, I compiled them and I collectively, I put them together in such a way to make sure you would know what you needed to know in the book of Proverbs. I organized it in such a way so that you would have everything you need to be a wise person in the world. But when you sum it all up, it all boils down. All the wise things boil down to this. It's in the book of Proverbs starts off by saying, the beginning of wisdom is the fear of God. And you read the last part of this chapter, as I conclude, he says, now after all has been heard, he says, serve God now, because why? You're going to get old and you're going to die. So what do you need to know? Sum it all up in one sentence. He says, fear God and keep his commandments. Now I said, Lord, this morning, I said, Lord, help me understand this fear God part. He says, fear God is about needing God. I said, okay, help me. I said, okay, the Lord help me. He said, you fear money. I said, no, I don't. He said, no, but you're afraid to not have it. You fear food. I said, no, I don't. He said, you're afraid to not have it. You fear gasoline. I said, I don't fear gasoline, Lord. He said, when your tank is empty, you run to the gas station. What he was saying was the fear of God is realizing that without God, you would be in trouble. See, you're going to go to work tomorrow, not because you love everybody at your job. You're going to go to work tomorrow, not because you like getting up at 6 in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, and getting yourself together to work with folk that don't like you, don't care about you. You go to work because you need a paycheck. Somebody say amen. You go to work, you fear your job. Not that you're afraid of anybody at your job, but you fear being without a job. And don't act like you don't, amen. You fear making sure you got money in your pocket and food on your table. And it's not that you fear food. You don't fear a steak. A steak doesn't make you tremble. Hamburger doesn't make you tremble. Chicken doesn't make you tremble. Vegetables don't make you tremble. But you know, if you don't have that food, you would be in trouble. And when you talk about fearing God, it is realizing if I'm not walking with God, learning God, obeying God, trusting God, depending on God, living for God every day, I am in trouble. Jesus said, abide in me and I'll abide in you. But if you don't abide in me, you cannot bear any fruit. When all is said and done, you need God in your life. You need to walk with God, to learn God. Too many of us are casually walking with God. Too many of us are halfway following God. You want to follow God now with all of your heart. Without doing that, you're going to lead a meaningless life. Oh, you may acquire some money, but it ain't going to do nothing. You may do a couple things, but it ain't going to do nothing. Unless you're really serving God, you won't really know what to do with your money. Unless you're really serving God, you won't really know what to do with your job. Unless you're really serving God, you really won't know what to do with your child and raise your family and do what you're supposed to do. You need the Lord in your life every moment, every day. You got to fear God.